Before we get into that, Lucy, I was just reading that it is National Pet Day. And I don't have pets. I used to have a pet, which I'll get into in a second. But you actually have three, including two horses?
I do. So I adore animals. National Pet Day is the greatest day of the year. So I have a cat. So happy National Pet Day to Effie, Layla, and Lila. Girl party always, my ladies. So two horses. One, the biggest horse we have ever had. The other, my family, my parents, my brother. And so the other one is a Shetland pony, the smallest horse we've ever had. So I grew up with horses, cats, all kinds of pets. And they are older. So we take in like older horses from a rescue in Connecticut. And then my dad kind of rehabs them, whatever ailments they have, and takes care of them. So absolutely love them. They all have their own personalities. They are fantastic. And our cat Effie, also a rescue. She's 14, but you would never know it because we've recently discovered that she is obsessed with this, like Friskies makes like this paste treat stuff and she's just like obsessed with it. So every time that she lives for it. So she's just like wired all the time. Like where's the paste all the time. So they are all very sassy and I love them very much.
That's awesome. I grew up in the country in Texas, so I didn't grow up with horses, but I grew up not on our property, but I've been around horses plenty. It's been a while, but know horses really well. Used to have a dog, the lovely Josie. She passed away 2 days short of her 16th birthday. Amazing animal. Oh, she was such a doll. And then I've told Chelsea this, but Josie actually went viral. It's pinned to the top of my Twitter feed about a year after she passed because she was so slow. And she was obsessed with the bakery next door, so I would take her every day to get bread. And then Chrissy Teigen found this and retweeted it. And so for a couple days, we were talking on Twitter, and my phone's blowing up. She's like, people would say, "Do you know Chrissy Teigen? Do you go back with?" I'm like, no. We're just having a conversation about dogs because she grew up with Basset Hounds and she loved this video. So Josie was awesome. But now that I don't have a pet, like I definitely mind meld with animals sometimes. I can be walking down the street and I'll see a dog. I'm like, that dog wants to come and wants me to pet it right now. And or there's a window right outside my condo building and there's a cat there, Mozzie, and Mozzie is always like grinding up against like the screen trying to get to me. I'm like, I know, I see you, Mozzie. I want to hang out. So I'm the same way. I love animals. And at some point, I'm going to take the plunge and get right back in it. This is the daily tip for
I'm going to get a dog at some point. Got to get a dog at some point.
You got to do it. You got to do it. This is a daily tip for BetQL presented by BetMGM. Okay, let's find out who won the weekend and bring in our producer, Nick, to give us the candidates. Oh, God, it's got to be Tiger, right? I mean, how do you choose against Tiger here? I feel like if you choose against Tiger here, you might be a communist. I don't know how you do it.
I agree.
I mean, it's
totally.
Joel Embiid, fine. You had a 40-point game. Woo, great job, man. Scottie Scheffler, look, he's a Longhorn. I'm a Longhorn, so I was rooting for Scottie from the start to finish in this Masters tournament. I wanted him to win it. I'm glad he got it done. But Tiger walking is a miracle. Tiger competing in the Masters is a miracle. And him making the cut and finishing all 4 rounds at the Masters is incredible. If you haven't read up on the catastrophic injuries he suffered, I'm telling you, the fact that he still got his leg and competing at this level is tremendous. So you got to give it to Tiger.
I agree. Absolutely have to go with Tiger because if you look at the pictures of that car crash, the questions went from will he survive to will he walk again to will he play golf again? And he did all of that. He did first of all, survived, obviously, but he played not only golf, but in the Masters. And he was not favored to even make the cut at the Masters, and he did that. And he said people started thinking, I started thinking, should I place a bet on him to win the Masters? Obviously, no, but you start thinking that. And the fact that you even thinking that at this point, it was unfathomable looking at that car crash. Like, oh yeah, I will be once again betting on him to win the Masters after the day of that car crash. You're thinking that? No way, not a chance. Absolutely, that is MVP behavior if I have ever seen it. Tiger Woods.
Not many people can say that they placed 47th in the Masters and were being called miraculous, but what he did over the weekend was miraculous. So yes, yeah. Tiger Woods all the way around.
Yep.
I totally hear you here. All right. All across the board, we're going with Tiger. How could we not? This is a daily tip for BetQL presented by BetMGM. Let's go to the phone lines now and bring in our good friend Jason Scott, the Vice President of Trading for BetMGM. He's in charge of setting the lines and prices, and he joins us each and every Monday here on the show. Jason, we'll get to Tiger in a moment, but is he your MVP from the weekend?
It's MVP, not participation award. It's a great story. It's a great narrative. But what Scottie Scheffler's done in the last 8 weeks, that's the MVP. You know, he's won 3 times in a short time. He took the lead on lunchtime or halfway through the round on Friday. Never was really challenged despite Smith getting with 1 after 3. Look, I think Tiger's a great story, but Scheffler is the winner.
Okay, so Jason, and I wanted to ask you about Tiger specifically when it comes to liability. When we heard he was going to play, all of a sudden BetMGM is dropping its odds down. Money is flowing in on Tiger for all sorts of different bets. How big, not that you were actively rooting against him personally, but professionally, I'm sure you had so much liability. How big was that for you going into the weekend?
It was huge. It was probably 3x bigger than any liability we've had on any player or game ever before. Because he was, we started laying 100 to 1 when he was doubtful to play. Then he became a bit iffy, and he was sort of 50 to 1, which is where he stayed pretty much to the start of the tournament. Then he was even 40 to 1 after Thursday. So we saw a lot of 10, 20, 50, $100 bets. But realistically, he was never really a chance. I mean, it was a remarkable effort to get round. I don't know if you noticed a couple of times there's that steep hill at the 6th. And walking down that hill, you were worried he was going to get there. Obviously, walking down was really hurting. So, yeah, look, it was a big number, but it was nothing really that gave us too much heart palpitations.
It's true. So, Jason, great to talk with you. So, with everything going on right now, NBA, MLB, what do you know that we don't about where the market is and what the books are doing right now?
Well, no one seems to be worried about the Nets having a couple of one-game play-ins. They're still third favourites to win the NBA, and we still keep seeing money rolling in all day, every day. So what I know is they're still the most popular team in basketball.
So, Jason, let me ask you about that, because that goes into my next question. And the Nets, you haven't gotten a lot of value on the Nets all season long because people love betting on Brooklyn because of that star power. And they've been so awful against the spread, the second worst team against the number in the NBA all season. But now it's different because it's a play-in game, or now it all counts. So do you have to handicap differently or take different factors into consideration? Because we know now it's all hands on deck, and this is a different type of basketball, different level of basketball. How does it affect how you set the numbers?
Yeah, it does. I mean, history tells you the experienced teams come to the fore. History, perhaps last year was an exception. There were a couple of upsets on the way through the playoffs, but as a rule, the older, harder-headed teams, totals we need to be a little bit different with. We start to see some defense. I mean, since the All-Star break, I don't think we've barely seen a charge. No one stands in the way. We'll see completely different basketball now, and personally, I'm looking forward to it.
So what is your best bet for the NBA and also just for today in general?
Yeah, my best bet for today in general, let's go tomorrow. I think I mentioned before there about defense. So we've got 4 totals that are 229 is the lowest of any of the 4 games, and I understand that looking at the sort of basketball these teams play. The Nets are the best team that's left. I think they'll start to play some defense. So I want to be on under 229.5 the Nets.
Very good.
And going forward, I still give the Celtics a chance. I think they're particularly good odds where they are. What's not going to be an easy result to get out of the East. But 10-1 seems like a good price to me.
We're talking to Jason Scott, the Vice President of BetMGM. He joins the show each and every Monday in charge of setting the lines and the prices at the book. Jason, where is your liability now when it comes to the NBA?
The Nets are by far the biggest. And ironically, their trade partner, the 76ers, are also no good.
And when you look at late teams, or not late teams, but maybe teams later in the season who have started to catch fire, like the Celtics are a perfect example where they just keep seeing their odds shorten all the way down to 10-1 now at BetMGM. Is that the team? Not necessarily a dark horse. It's hard to call the Celtics a dark horse at 10-1, but certainly not one of the top tier favorites. Is that the team that you're seeing getting more money than other teams right now?
The Celtics and the Mavs would be the two teams that are dark horses that we've probably got going for the book. In the West, it's been, there's some teams that are always popular, and the Warriors are always popular. They're our biggest loser in the West. The Suns have been looked to be the best team there all year, so there's been good money there. But yeah, the dark horses, the Mavs and the Heat, and we haven't seen that much money for the Grizzlies either. Again, a young team. I'm not sure they can do it, but they are only plus 1,200.
Oh, that's surprising to me. He's the Vice President of Trading for BetMGM, and you can hear him each and every Monday here on the show. It's our good friend Jason Scott. Jason, we always appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have to love. I saw, if you're watching us on Twitter, you have to just watch just for Lucy's reactions to when someone objective comes in, particularly from BetMGM, and mentions, I like the Celtics or I like the Red Sox. Like, immediately you lit up like it was Christmas Day.
Oh, Jason, thank you. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. The books are in on the Celtics. They're not a dark horse, but their odds still have value, and I absolutely love it. So thank you to Jason Scott for that.
He's not wrong, though. And I would tell you because I would say, but we've been talking about the Celtics a lot on this show just because that, it's so easy. The NBA is such a star-driven league. And if you're going to bet, you have to look at beyond just the superstars. And I think that's why when he talks about, I can't believe their biggest liability is on the Nets. Like, that's absolutely insane. Not because I don't think the Nets can make a run. They are the third favorite at BetMGM. They're at 7-1 right now. You've got the Suns, the favorites, at plus 350, and then the Bucks at plus 550. Then it's the Nets. But for a team that has so many question marks, and maybe they get Ben Simmons back, maybe they don't. I just can't believe that that's where the liability lies. I think there are better plays out there. Let me ask you, do they need Ben Simmons to make a legitimate run here or no?
You know what? No, I don't think so. I think they're you know what they need? They need Kyrie Irving to play every day. Like, if it is remarkable to think about, if Kyrie Irving played every day, they would be unstoppable. Because in the games he does play, he puts up like 60 points, like, which I hate. First of all, that Kyrie is a good basketball player. Like, I want to hate him so much, but I can't because he's a good basketball player. So they have Kevin Durant, they have Kyrie Irving sometimes. I think that they're going to be okay. They were favored for a long time to win. And so I think they're going to be fine, even without Ben Simmons.
I'm curious about, it feels like to me, I would not place any money on the Nets, certainly not now. It feels like to me that they are a year away and that they need a year where it's KD and Kyrie playing on a regular basis. They've got Seth Curry stroking from three, and they've got Ben Simmons at full strength where he's a great defender. We know how good he is as a point guard, and what's going to happen with his shooting, we don't know, but maybe it doesn't matter because they've got so many great shooters on that team anyway. So maybe the Nets can make a run, but it's crazy to me that the public keeps pouring in money on Brooklyn thinking, oh, they'll just make a run. We're not giving enough credit to the rest of the league. This is hyper competitive, particularly as we keep talking about, Lucy, in the Eastern Conference. You can make a strong case for a lot of teams.
Yeah, and I think too, people put money where they see stars. So if you
Yes.
have a team where they, of course, so wherever there's a star, they're like, okay, of course they have a chance to win, so I'm going to bet on them. But you look at the Celtics, who don't really have stars per se, but they put a little team together and they're doing okay. And they're the train that keeps chugging along here in a great, I mean, chugging along, but they're blowing out teams as they go. So yeah, they are chugging along. But that's why I look at the Bucks and Giannis is a star, but then of course he's in Milwaukee, so you're not looking as much.